Yeah, there was so much in it. I don't really know where to start, but I think I will focus on the aspect of sentientism. I just excluded it because I didn't want the talk to become some kind of introductory lesson to animal ethics, but I'm still sticking to the sentientist approach, despite all the criticism. But I want to say a few words about it because I haven't introduced it, so I haven't introduced my personal approach to it. And for me, this isn't an approach that seeks for core commonalities with human beings, because I definitely think it is really important to value other animals in the way they are, and not just because they are similar to us. Like, the similarities to us humans shouldn't be important. And I don't think sentience is important because we humans are sentient. For me, sentience is important because it's a precondition for having interests. And an individual who has interests in the strong sense, for me, should, like, how we treat this individual should be evaluated differently than how we treat individuals without these strong interests on their own. And that doesn't mean that it's morally neutral how to treat individuals without these strong interests. But for me, it really makes a difference, because I think if you are sentient and you are able to feel pain and pleasure and all the other emotions and effects, it is something different for you to be in the world, and it means something else for you how you are treated than if you miss this. And that's the reason why I still stick with this sentientist approach for arguing which individuals should be included in the moral community. But I think when it comes to questions how we should treat different kinds of animals, it's not only pain and pleasure that should lead us or should guide us to some answers. And I think I take a contextualist approach to animal ethics, because I think in terms when to really be able to say how we should treat particular animals, it is very important to take our relations to them into account. Because we have, with different relations, different responsibilities come along, etc. Yeah, but in terms of, like, your critique on this very individualist account, I mean, I think it's very important to keep on highlighting that we are not like isolated entities, and we depend on the relationships with others and nature and technology so much. So I totally share this criticism of very individualist approaches. Nevertheless, I think that they are important because, yeah, if you are a being that can be harmed, it's important that we have good arguments to reason for it, that this individual should not be harmed. Yeah, and that's why I personally think it is something different if we harm, or we should evaluate it differently if we harm or torture an individual animal, sentient animal, than if a species is going extinct, because that species are going extinct is problematic from several reasons, but a species doesn't have interests. A species does not have interests in a strong sense, and that's why I think we need to evaluate this differently. Maybe I leave it with that.
Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks, Leonie, for this very, very interesting talk. And I also go to the question of sentience, because it's very difficult to draw the line. And as you probably know, recent research shows that so many more species show sentience. For example, fruit flies suffer from chronic pain, and bees can be euphoric or depressive, and jumping spiders have REM dreams. And so what about extending sentience to all life and work from that? And even if somebody might accuse me of biocentrism, extending sentience, as life is always interrelated with non-life, to everything, and then work from that and not have any binary anymore, as do indigenous cultures, actually, who do have environmental ethics, which are very functional. What about this radical suggestion?
Yes, thanks a lot. I am sympathetic with biocentric approaches. Nevertheless, as I just said, I think for me it's really a strong moral intuition that it is something special if an individual has interests and can be harmed because of these strong interests. So for me, it is important to draw a line somewhere, because I still think it is different. It must be evaluated differently if I kill a pig or if I just kill a tree or a worm. With these scientist arguments, I'm just trying to put this strong moral intuition in ethical arguments. But I, of course, have to bite the bullet that it's very difficult to draw the line, and I completely need to, I'm depending on empirical studies for that. And we all know that empirical studies are dependent on worldviews, etc. So this is highly problematic. I know, I'm aware of that, and I'm willing to bite this bullet. I think that there are strong arguments also from the empirical studies, from the life science, that insects, crustaceans, and cephalopods are sentient. So we are definitely not stick with the vertebrate group. Yeah, I think that's all I want to say with it, because I think for me it's necessary to have arguments at hand to argue that the treatment of a sentient animal is different than how I treat a tree or a microbe. Despite I never want to say that it's morally irrelevant or neutral how we treat all these other living beings. Just we need other arguments for that. That's my take.
Yes, thank you very much. I would like to come back to the capability approach and Nussbaum and your take on this, because I'm thinking about the criticism that has been addressed to Nussbaum as, you know, a privileged white liberal woman from the West providing a universalist account for all women. And then she replied, oh no, come on. I had a focus group with women in Asia and we discovered this list of capabilities together. So I was thinking, is this more participatory approach applicable also to animals? Or if you use a capability approach, it will be still kind of dualistic in the way that, okay, we humans, we should protect animals. So like justice as the duty to protect animals. Or do you think that we could kind of develop a participatory ethics, capability ethics from Nussbaum? I mean, it's a real question, really. I'm wondering what you think about this possibility. Yeah.
I mean, I share the criticism that Nussbaum's approach is, of course, a very Western approach. And there come a lot of problems with that because she claims it to be universal. But what I like about it, being aware of this criticism, is that I think with the hinting towards the fact that empirical studies show that also animals, well, at least some animals, but more than we maybe think in the first time, a lot of animals also possess these capabilities that we humans possess. I think it leads to a good direction to make people aware of that. Yeah, we are to get rid of this thinking about human superiority and get rid of this paradigm of human superiority and human chauvinism. That's a rather pragmatic argument and not a really philosophical one. But therefore, I think her approach is very useful.
If I may, just a short comment on this. So the idea of participatory approach in animal ethics here, I think it's something which is closely connected to some of the positive uses of AI to non-human animals, which is a lot of wonderful research which is currently done on AI decoding animal languages, and it's really like totally groundbreaking issue where we are, due to use of AI technologies, capable of sort of perceiving things in non-human animal world that we have never been before, and also understanding much more what are the needs, maybe if we want to stick with the Nussbaum's framework, which I would not be the advocate of at all. But if we want to stick there with that, so then the needs are kind of better to be understood through through these new technologies that are used in understanding the non-human animal world. So I think that a sort of participatory dynamics is maybe something like improving our understanding through these possibilities that we currently have, and using them not to exploit, but using them to better identify what are the needs and what are the interests of that particular individuals or species, etc.
Just a small remark on that. What I also like very much is that she argues that individuals should not only be able to transform their capabilities into activities, but they should be enabled. So it forces us to also think more about what animals, how we could, help animals with living a flourishing life, as we do with a lot of other humans that need some like guidance or help to participate in society, and to think about how we can make animals participate in our human or interspecies societies is also, I think, where the approach is very helpful.
As far as I know, the problem is that all applications of AI come at the expense of the environment. So all the AI applications are polluting significantly. And that is sometimes why people say human intelligence first. If a human cannot solve it, or we can only apply AI in case human intelligence is really significantly not sufficient. And I was wondering, listening to your talk and also to the comment, can we not extend this to, on the one hand, animal intelligence? So you can say your examples of animal husbandry. Can we not say human intelligence first before we use AI to treat animals? But also, maybe we have to reflect a little bit more or broaden the understanding of intelligence, because there's also a lot of intelligence in nature, in ecosystems, that is not so much individual agency, but it's more based on collaboration, for instance. And is that not maybe then the way forward for an understanding of this sustainability that is more appropriate for the use in case of animals and the environment? That was just my thought.
Yes, just maybe a small remark to that in terms of using the human intelligence when dealing with animals instead of the AI. I definitely would agree that we should do this, and we have to think about a lot how we use our intelligence to treat them in a better way and in a more respectful way. It's just that, well, I think I'm a bit pessimistic in terms of that these AI systems will be used for them anyways. So we better reflect on that from an ethical point of view now and try to modify it a little bit. Yeah, and I also think it's important in terms of this aspect that AI applications always come at the expense of the environment, that we start questioning more which AIs we really want. Because just because we can, we should not use all of them all the time.